Relationships often begin with the best of intentions. But as Carl Jung, the Swiss psychoanalyst, taught, we all carry an unconscious shadow, parts of ourselves we don't acknowledge, yet which silently influence our behavior. When a person's shadow remains unhealed and unchecked, their words can become tools of manipulation rather than connection. Sometimes, what sounds like vulnerability or honesty is actually a veiled form of control. If you're not paying close attention, these seemingly harmless phrases can trap you in a relationship where you lose sight of yourself piece by piece. Recognizing these red flag statements early on is critical to preserving your emotional health and autonomy. Below are 5 common phrases, decoded through the lens of Jungian psychology and Stoic philosophy, that are not just signs of poor communication, but warnings of deeper psychological patterns. If you hear any of these regularly, it may be time to reconsider the relationship. 1. You have to accept me as I am. At first, this phrase can sound like emotional openness. It might seem like someone embracing their authentic self. But when used to deflect criticism or resist change, it becomes a red flag, especially when it follows patterns of emotional unavailability, disrespect, or manipulation. What it really communicates is, I refuse to grow, and I expect you to shrink to accommodate my limitations. Jung emphasized that real psychological growth starts when we confront our shadow, not hide behind it. A man who uses this phrase to dodge accountability has chosen comfort over evolution. He expects you to do all the emotional work while he stays stagnant. This attitude contradicts the concept of individuation, Jung's term for becoming the fullest version of yourself. A healthy relationship should involve mutual growth. If one partner refuses to evolve, it throws the entire relationship off balance. Over time, you'll find yourself always adjusting, compromising, and minimizing your needs while he continues on unbothered. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Don't shrink to fit into someone else's unwillingness to grow." 2. All my exes were crazy. This may seem like a casual remark or an attempt to connect through shared past pain, but if you hear it early in the relationship, or often, it's likely a sign of deep psychological projection. Carl Jung warned that what we fail to make conscious ends up controlling us. A man who insists all his exes were the problem may be hiding from his own reflection. Rather than owning his part in previous relationships, he externalizes all blame. He positions himself as the eternal victim, avoiding any self-accountability. The truth? It's highly unlikely that all of his exes were irrational or toxic. More likely, they were women who eventually refused to tolerate his unconscious behaviors. Now he labels them as crazy because they held up a mirror he didn't want to face. This mindset is dangerous because it shows a refusal to learn from the past. Eventually, you will become the next crazy ex in his story. You'll find yourself walking on eggshells, trying to be the one who doesn't trigger him. But no matter what you do, the unresolved shadow he carries will manifest again. Jung called this projection, the act of assigning one's unacknowledged flaws onto others. If he can't see his own patterns, he'll just keep repeating them, no matter how patient, kind, or emotionally intelligent you are. Ask yourself, has he ever taken responsibility for anything that went wrong in his past relationships? If the answer is no, that's a major red flag. 3. If you really loved me, you'd do what I ask. This phrase is textbook emotional blackmail. It's manipulation disguised as romantic vulnerability. And while it might come up subtly, if you loved me, you'd answer faster, or you'd cancel those plans for me. it can quickly escalate into complete control over your life. This isn't about love. It's about coercion. As the Stoics taught, love should be given freely, not forced or extracted. Carl Jung noted that manipulation is often a byproduct of the unconscious shadow, where insecurity, fear, and control fester unexamined. A man who uses your feelings against you to get his way is not expressing affection. He's undermining your agency. What makes this phrase so insidious is its progression. It starts small, but over time it shifts your entire behavior. You begin to question your decisions, isolate yourself, and suppress your needs. Not out of love, but out of fear of disappointing him. Eventually, your autonomy erodes. You can't tell whether you're acting from love or simply avoiding conflict. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. That includes emotionally manipulative demands. Real love honors boundaries. It allows for disagreements, personal space, and individual decisions. A man who weaponizes love isn't seeking connection. He's seeking dominance. 4. You're not enough for me. This phrase lands like a psychological dagger. It attacks your self-worth at its core. But as Carl Jung insightfully noted, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. In this case, the irritation, or rather the cruelty, is a projection. A man who says this isn't commenting on your inadequacy. He's exposing his own. He projects his inner emptiness and feelings of failure onto you. Rather than facing his own insufficiencies, he makes you the scapegoat. Over time, this leads to a toxic cycle of emotional dependency. You'll constantly strive to be enough by giving more, doing more, or changing who you are. But the goalposts will always move. Today, you're not enough because you're too emotional. Tomorrow, it'll be because you're too distant. This is a setup for chronic self-doubt and emotional exhaustion. Jung understood that this kind of projection is a defense mechanism, a way to avoid looking inward. And the Stoics believed that your worth should never be dictated by another's judgment. Marcus Aurelius put it bluntly, do not let another man's soul rule over yours. Your value is not defined by someone who cannot see their own. Don't internalize their judgment. Reclaim your power. 5. Do whatever you want. This phrase seems harmless, maybe even generous, on the surface. But if said with sarcasm, coldness, or passive-aggressive undertones, it's a trap. Jung called this covert aggression, a hallmark of someone who refuses to express their emotions directly. Instead of communicating clearly, they leave you to decode their hidden meaning. And if you get it wrong, you're punished with guilt trips, silent treatments, or withdrawal. This kind of passive aggression is not just annoying, it's psychologically draining. You start anticipating his moods, filtering your behavior, and second-guessing your choices. You begin carrying the weight of his unspoken emotions. In healthy relationships, communication is direct. Needs are stated clearly. Decisions are made collaboratively. But this phrase sets you up in a lose-lose situation. If you do what you want, he resents you. If you try to please him, you sacrifice your autonomy. The Stoics emphasized clarity, integrity, and intentional speech. Seneca advised that we speak in ways that require no decoding. So when someone continually speaks in riddles, they are either avoiding their truth or trying to manipulate yours. The antidote? Take them at their word. If he says, do whatever you want, do just that. Let him sit with the consequences of indirect communication. This breaks the cycle of emotional games and puts the responsibility for clarity back where it belongs, You're not here to heal the unwilling. All 5 of these phrases may appear in isolation, but if you start noticing them as recurring themes in your relationship, it's a strong indicator that you're dealing with someone operating from an unhealed shadow. Carl Jung's work teaches us that the shadow must be brought into consciousness if we're ever to form genuine, healthy relationships. But not everyone is willing to face their darkness. Some would rather project it, manipulate with it, or drown you in it. The Stoics and Jung agree on one thing. Your peace, your autonomy, and your integrity are sacred. They are not things to be traded for conditional affection, emotional control, or the promise of someone else's eventual transformation. You are not here to heal men who refuse to heal themselves. You're here to grow, evolve, and share your life with someone willing to walk the same path. So, when you hear these red flag phrases, don't rationalize them. Don't let nostalgia or potential blind you. See them for what they are. Warnings that someone's unconscious shadow is about to become your conscious burden. And when that happens, the most loving act isn't to stay and fix. It's to walk away, reclaim your peace, and never settle for less than the conscious love you deserve.